Threats against lawmakers are on the rise again after hitting an all-time high in 2021 when Donald Trump's followers stormed the Capitol on January 6th. Last year, the Capitol Police investigated more than 8,000 threats against members of Congress, an increase from 2022. A spokesman for the department predicted 2024 will be, quote, a very busy year for our special agents. This week, a Texas man who vowed to kill Congresswoman Maxine Waters was sentenced to 33 months in prison and a $10,000 fine. The man left Waters voicemails with violent and racist threats in 2022 and doubled down when police warned him to stop. Congresswoman Waters attended the man's sentencing hearing. She told the court the threats gave her nightmares and made her and her family fear for their lives. The Los Angeles Times reported that the Congresswoman described herself as, quote, haunted. Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters of California. She's the ranking member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congresswoman Waters, as always, thank you for coming to the Saturday show. You've been in the public eye for decades. Why were these threats particularly painful?
Well, you know, it was sinister. Here was a man who continued to call 4 times, and he made racial comments. He basically said not only was he going to put a bullet between my eyes, he was going to cut my throat. And I want to tell you, it did get to me. I'm not someone who walks around, you know, just fearful all the time. But this was more sinister again. It was deadly. And so I haunted by those kinds of comments coming from him.
Congresswoman, what made you want to face your harasser in court?
I wanted to see who this human being was. And when he saw me, what was it about me that made him want to kill me? What had I said? What did I do that made him want to slit my throat or to put a bullet between my eyes? And so I listened to him, and I hope he listened to me. I had my children in court with me. My daughter was there. My son was there. And they're always fearful that I'm going to be killed. And of course, my staff has to endure these kinds of threats. This isn't the first one we've had. We've had some others sentenced and put in jail, but this one seems more consistent and seemed more serious. Again, it seems as if this man was intent on not only threatening me, but he said he had people in the Los Angeles area, some of his friends or groups of people that he works with that were going to get me, that they had a contract out on my life.
How concerned are you, Congresswoman, about your safety if Donald Trump is reelected?
Well, I'm very concerned, not only about my safety and not only about the safety of members of Congress. I'm concerned about the safety of so many people in this country, particularly people of color. Trump has said that if he does not win, it's going to be fraud. And because it's going to be fraud, there's going to be blood in the streets. He threatens about a civil war, and he threatens there's going to be violence. So I say all of this talk is motivational with many of those who are racist, who are sitting at home listening to him, and they're taking him up on his threats even before the elections take place. And so it's about thousands, maybe millions of people, you know, being threatened and being at risk because of Donald Trump and his desire to wreak revenge on anything and everybody.
You know, Congressman, real quickly in the less than 2 minutes we have left, 60 years ago this week, 3 activists, Mikey Schwerner, James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, they were murdered for trying to register Black Mississippi residents to vote during Freedom Summer. What do you see as their legacy today, especially as the nation faces more threats of political violence like the ones you've faced?
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of those people who joined in the civil rights movement, who are not Black, who are not people of color, who joined with us to try and get justice and equality in this country. But we see they were killed, they were murdered. And I do believe that, having listened to Donald Trump so many times and having the attack, the insurrection that took place on the House of Representatives, in Congress, on the Capitol grounds, that we could be in for more killings like that. And I think Donald Trump has to take responsibility for what he's saying about blood in the streets and violence if he's not elected to be the president of the United States of America.